I'm gonna give these an iron real quickly. 1 second. That's better. Hello. Hello, my gorgeous little rebels. Today, I'm gonna do two things. One, I'm going to re-upcycle an upcycled flop, or right an upcycled wrong. What I mean by that is I have upcycled something and I did it in such a rush and non-thoughtful, mindful way that the item that I've created isn't something I have ever worn. So we're going to re-upcycle it into something good. And then number two, I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to show you the questions that I asked myself before upcycling, during upcycling, and just sort of like the process of creating something that I wear. I feel like nowadays I'm very aware of of the things that I make and their practicality. So I'm hoping this video might help you sort of have a plan together for your upcycling projects, and like maybe just ask yourself some things so the thing that you make isn't an upcycled flop. Let's show you the upcycled item that I just don't wear and want to re-upcycle. Here it is. I'm going to find out when I posted this. Let's have a look. It was 8 months ago, which isn't that long, but I haven't worn this item and I've had like ample opportunities to wear it. This is the video if you're interested, but I do have to say that even though last minute sewing can be really good for me in like productivity and things like that, I tend to just make stuff without really thinking about like the practicality of the item, and obviously I end up with items that I don't wear. And this is made out of placemats, and it's such a gorgeous colour and print that it seems so silly not to make something and not to give this the proper love and attention it deserves. I'll try it on for you because the actual construction of it is actually very clever, if I do say so myself. Let's go. Here it is, and it's all right. Oh God, I love the side view. I like the whole triangular shape. And I didn't do any cutting. It is literally all just cleverly stitched on and wrapped around my body. But it is quite stiff, and I mean, I don't mind my belly being shown. Finally see the little tattoo that's on my ribs there, but yeah, it's just a bit stiff and I haven't picked it up. And again, I've had lots of opportunities to wear it, some holidays, going out, but I just haven't worn it. So we're going to re-upcycle it today into something I love and wear often. There's a bunch of things that I consider when I upcycle something for myself now. So let's go through that list before we start unpicking and hacking at this. First one is materials. This is the material that you are working with. So this is a slightly stiff cotton, but there's actually a placemat on the back which is a lot softer. And of course I could probably try and soften the material, but I think I'm going to keep it as is because I want to use it for a structured top, I think. But obviously if I'm working with a very light scarf-like material, then maybe that wouldn't be appropriate for a pair of shorts per se. And especially if you are making clothing for, or upcycling clothing for yourself, what kind of materials do you like on your body? If you're working with a polyester sort of crochet lace curtain, for example, you probably wouldn't want to wear that in the heat of summer, but you might use it as a trim instead. So yes, so it's always good to figure out what you think the material is going to be best used for in garment or accessory form. Number two is what shape I want. I very much always think about practical items. I hate making clothing that means I have to adjust things, like straps falling off, or having to keep pulling up my top, or readjusting the sleeves. It's very annoying, and I try my absolute best to create clothing for myself that doesn't do that. But also, what kind of shapes do you like to wear? When you go to your wardrobe, what things do you keep pulling out? Is it a very similar shape? Is it something you're comfortable wearing? Is there a piece of clothing that you have in your wardrobe right now that you constantly go for? So maybe you want to mimic that shape, or I don't know, try and create something that's very similar. And that way you already know you go for that kind of shape. So maybe you just copy that and make it. A lot of my upcycles is based on things that I like wearing, like that t-shirt with the gatheredness. I based that style on a top that I have been wearing a lot and I've been loving. So yeah. Another thing I consider when upcycling is working with what you've got. Obviously there are times when I'll go on Pinterest and I find something that I really like, and I don't have anything similar to it in colours, patterns or shape. So sometimes I go to my local charity shops, look on eBay to try and find something for the upcycle. But if we take this, I've kept all of the hems intact. There's literally no cutting of this. And I also like the placement of the prints. So I'm thinking I can try and put that in there somewhere. So yes, those are some of the things that I consider before upcycling. And whilst I'm trying to get like a little plan together, which we'll do in a second, I will keep asking myself these things until I've come up with a rounded idea. So let's take this off and start to get a plan together of what we're going to do with this. Yes! Have to finish the tea first, obviously. Right, so I'm going to unpick the seams, or like the bits on this, and then whilst doing that, let's go through the plan using those little prompts or considerations, shall we? Okay, so material. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's crunchy. It's a thicker cotton. It's not that super lightweight cotton that you get. It's like, well, it's a placemat, so it's slightly thicker cotton. So I think whatever I do decide to make, it has to be fairly structured. Like this isn't gonna make a really nice flowy skirt or a flowy dress. So maybe like if I wanted to do that like 60s shift dress, that could look really nice, something really structured, or maybe a structured top. And I think because the material is quite thick, this wouldn't be nice in a waistband of some trousers. Like these trousers are linen, like very sort of lightweight linen, and it's a nice material to wear. But I think if I was to try and put this around my waist, I think it would be really stiff with the elastic, so we're not going to do that. But then if I wanted to do shorts and add a zip rather than elastic, then that could definitely work because it's the appropriate material for that. And then if I think about things that I am reaching for, things that I am wearing, especially as it's getting hotter now, there is one top that I have been wearing so much. I've been wearing it on holiday, I've been wearing it in a lot of my videos, and it's this one. I literally pulled it out of the washing machine this morning, so it's a bit smelly and a bit damp because it's gone against my little like makeup wash thing. So yeah, I'm trying to like not have this out for too long because it smells. But I love this top. I love the shape. I have said before that I like having my arms out, and I love the little detail, and I think in another video I'm going to try and mimic this detail because it's like reverse, is it couching maybe, but I really like the shape. So I think if I decide to do this, because I know I'll wear it because I go for this all the time, then I can use this as a template for my upcycle. So that's like a really cool trick. Whatever you have in your wardrobe that you wear a lot, you can just mimic the pattern, and it's not too hard to do. I mean, I won't show you how I do it with like paper, but there are lots of YouTube videos out there that do teach you how to copy your garments, and it's really helpful because you can just recreate the shapes you love out of the materials you want. It's amazing. I should have mentioned before, so the quantity of material that you're working with. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I've got 6 placemats. I'm sure I've got another 2 in my storage thing, which is a lot of material. So obviously this little vest top thing is probably going to take 3 or 4 max. And then we've got 2 more to work with, so we can make a matching item. I'll have to double check to see what buttons I have, because this top does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons here. To be fair, it's got 2 extra, so I could use them if I wanted. So I'll need to check my stash as well, because if I haven't got the right size button, then I'll have to keep note that my buttonholes will need to be a bit bigger or smaller with the buttons that I have. Yes. There's the little placemats. Right, so from the unpicking, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these stiffer placemats, the crunchy cotton, and then I have 1, 2, 3 of these square ones, which are a lot lighter. I'm just trying to decide. I mean, the weight of this is practically the same as this, so it is making me think I should use this for the little top. But then I'm thinking maybe we could make a pair of matching, I don't know, skirt or shorts, because it is a really nice material. I don't know just yet. Okay, so I found these little buttons, which would fit perfectly because that purple matches so well, but there's only 4 buttons there, which is really annoying. So then I found these, which I bought off Vinted, I think. These look a little bit better for sizing, and to be fair, that looks quite cute actually, sort of having different colours for buttons. Yeah, I think we're gonna go for these. Oh, I love the yellow. The yellow looks lovely against that. Yeah, I just got to decide what colours, what size I want. Do I want the big size or do I want the little size? This is what we've gone for. So 5 of the little ones. Right, so I am going to iron the lightweight ones and work on the top first, because that is something I really want to do. I really want another copy of that. So we're going to do that, and then after we can then go through how we're going to use these in the best way possible. So let's start ironing. The professional person in me is saying you should really make a paper pattern for this, but then the upcyclist in me is saying, nah, don't need to do that, let's just wing it, it'll be fine. And I do fancy following that little upcycling devil voice. So what I'm going to do is, can you see there is like already hems and seams already done because it's a complete garment. So I'm going to grab one of the lighter ones, and maybe it's feeling a little lazy, I don't know, but I'm going to line the edge hemmed of the part of the placemat along the edge of the bottom of this top. And then keep in mind that there are actually darts in here, so I'm going to mimic this dart, which is here. Right, 3 centimeters. So I've lined it up there, and then at that point, so it's actually going to be 6 centimeters, which is quite a hefty dart. So from the middle of that, I'm going to put it here. I'm not going to call this a tutorial because I'm just not. Okay, see, we need to add a little bit of fabric to create the top part here, but I'm just going to cut where the center of this is. So again, I'm sort of following it, and that is about there. And then what I do is I'm just feeling where that front is, making sure I'm not getting it too confused with that. Okay. I feel like I'm speaking as if this is a tutorial, but it's not really. I just want to show you how I'm doing things. So, with my original blue garment, it is actually quite high under my underarm. Yeah. So I'm actually going to, for the new one, I'm going to lower the armhole by about 2 centimeters or so, just for comfort reasons. So again, I'm going to follow the same process and kind of mark out where the end of the armhole is, or where the seam is, and then from there do a 1.5 centimeter thing. I'm going to use what scraps I have for this to form the little shoulder part on here, and then I'm going to mimic it for the other side. Yes. Right, here is the front. So we just got to work on the back, and I think I'm going to follow the same process and just have like the hem of the placemats become the hem of the top. Just makes it a lot easier, I think. And then, like the blue top, as you can see on the side seam, it's got like these little slits. So I thought that by having the hem, the hemmed edges here, I can just do like a zigzag stitch to connect them. And I think that'll work. I can't see why it wouldn't work. So I'm going to work on the back next. Okay, this is not a problem. So the last placemat doesn't actually fit, as you can see here. So that's the same for both sides. So I've just come up with a really cool idea. I'm going to center it so it's as center as possible. And then from the two fronts, I have these little side pieces cut out. So let's be a little nifty and stitch them to the side like that. So I still have the little hemmed edges, and let's raise it a little bit just to make it snazzy. That's the thing with upcycling. It's all about just working with what you've got and just being a little nifty. And don't worry, all these little bits here, I'm going to use them. I've been making these scrappy bags and they're so good. And I like that, how like interesting that little bit of fabric is. So they're going to look gorgeous in the bags. Okay, so we just need to fill in this little gap here. I'm hoping I've got something for that. Just quickly show you what I'm doing before I go to my machine. So any pieces that I'm making up, I'm just finishing them with my overlocker and then stitching the already done hems on top, and then I'm cutting the shape. Just means less waste, which is all good. Okay, so that's where we're at currently. I'm going to now do a zigzag stitch, which is going to connect the two side seams, but I'm going to leave it 1 second. I'm gonna try and mimic this gap. I say gap, but it's just where the seam is open. So about 8 centimeters. So I'm gonna zigzag stitch them together, starting 8 centimeters up. Where's there? I made a sort of similar little, what I'm calling stress points on here, just with like a little bit of scrap fabric, and it's just so this doesn't feel too stressed and come apart. And yes, so all I need to do is make some bias binding, attach the bias binding, then add buttons and buttonholes. Yeah. Cool. Okay, bias binding has been added to the front and sides. I'm not going to show you how I've done them because they are a bit atrocious. So let's try this on and then we can work on the buttonholes. Dun, dun, dun. Can't remember if it's left over right or right over left. I'll have a look on my other top. But yeah, this is looking good. This is looking really good. Got the little dots there. Got the little splits here. Ooh, fabulous. Tell you now, I will definitely wear this now. It kind of looks what, like 90s maybe, and then I was just like kind of like a little play around in the mirror with this, and so I've like undone a couple of buttons on the towards the bottom, and then I think I might add a couple of really thin ties just sort of directly stitched on, because then like when that is like tightened, creates this really nice like fan out effect. So I'm thinking of adding just a couple of ties at the back here, almost like a waistcoat, and then yeah, and just have this, and I think that looks really cute. I think to be super scrappy, I'll use some tea towel ends because I've got quite a few, or maybe some lace, I'm not too sure, but yeah, it will, yeah. Right, I have been through a little journey there. So I thought about maybe putting these on as like patches to sort of tie in this kind of outfit, and then I did have a really cool idea, but then I was really thinking about it and thinking, would I wear this? And it was a no. And basically it was these were stitched, these would be stitched like here to here, and then when you wear them this kind of flops down. And it does create a really cool, interesting look. But I just thought, no, I'm just trying to be, I'm just trying to like think of ideas, and that's not a good one because I don't think it's very practical. And yeah, and I was trying to pair it with outfits or with garments that I already have, and I just couldn't get it to work. So I've now fallen on the idea of making a beach bag. And I think I mentioned about these bags earlier. So I've been recently trying out this super scrappy bag idea, and it's got all these like tea towel ends all stitched down. And I've created the pattern. The shape is like fairly easy. And I think there should be enough to form this bag. I'll just need to get some extra, probably this fabric actually, to make the strap and the bottom. But yeah, I think it's minimal cutting, minimal waste, and it's something that I need essentially. So that's what we're gonna do. Let's say goodbye to the sewing machine. I am using these little rings which came from a pair of curtains that I bought from a charity shop, and those are going to have the bag strap and then the little side straps. Super scrappy. Oh, safe to say, I am very happy. Not only have I transformed those placemats from a top into another top, a top that I will definitely wear, but I now have my own little beach slouchy bag, and I'm so happy. So yes, that is a little insight into how I upcycle things for myself. There's a few things to consider, and of course, I mean, even now I still get things wrong, or things aren't appropriate with the material or the shape, and everything is just a bit of a learning curve really. So if you do find something and you've upcycled it and you don't like the outcome, then that's okay. You can remake it into something else, and then if it goes terribly wrong, just like cut it down into tiny little pieces and make scrappy bugs and beetles. It's okay. So from the placemats, I do have these scraps left over, but I have become obsessed with making those bags, and these are such lovely colours, so they will be used for the bags, and if not, they will be used as stuffing for bugs, beetles, or little bag charms. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you can, please like, comment and subscribe. It really does help. And if you are inspired by anything that I make or the process, then please tag me in your creations or send me pictures on email or DMs or whatever. I love seeing them, so please do. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.